spawning the upper right in the red. He's the Vanguard player. In my eye, probably the best Vanguard player in the world right now. His name is Mixu. And the bottom left, the chef in the kitchen with all sorts of abusive builds. Let's see what he's got in store for us this time. It's Aureil. Oh, okay, Rusty Shaggy saying, like, pull the stats of the best unit of the game, like the helicarrier with 200 kills or something. I don't know that they actually have stat tracking like that in the game right now. I mean, certainly you mouse over a scout, it doesn't tell you how many things it's killed. You can do that in StarCraft too, but it just depends on whether that is getting, it's just getting scouted. Unknown, or it is getting tracked, I guess. USC2 saying, bro, hero units in the RTS 3v3. Yes, I am down for heroes in 3v3 because you kind of don't have that death balling centralization issue if 3 players are playing. Like if it's 3 separate death balls, it's still 3 fights happening at the same time, and you can do a whole lot of stuff. So I think in multiplayer, but like in team games, I think it's totally fine. In 1v1, hero units have really more issues than benefits for the most part. And one could argue that the dragon is a hero unit. You could also argue that it's just a really powerful unit that takes a while to build, because you can have multiples of them in a game. You know, they don't respawn by themselves. You saying, I think Refresh might be better, to be honest. Maybe. Refresh did beat Mixu the other day in the open tournament I ran. I think I've just seen better kind of results from Mixu overall. But yeah, Refresh did beat Mixu 2 weekends ago. So there was that. Yeah, Rusty Shacky, you can do it with StarCraft 2 replay immediately after the match regarding hero units and stats. If eventually we get a replay API, which I think some people have figured out a little bit. They've been able to go, like, you can download a tool called Shroudstone and it'll auto rename your replays, which is awesome. Some of that's getting figured out, and eventually we should be able to do so. Then you'll be able to like decompile or load a replay, parse it immediately. And I actually have some really cool stuff with that for StarCraft 2, where I have like a post-game summary with supply plots and kind of key points that I have working that I'm very proud of. But for now, Harass coming out of Mixu. He's open with some hedgehogs here, and that is not going to work out because, hey, Sovereign's Watch is going to be able to slow it down. So the first bit of pressure, yes, the Repair-O-Matic is going to heal it back up, and that's going to be fine. But link nodes are going to go down. It's going to have to turn into a strike node very quickly here. And behind this, do we have Exos on the way? No, it's more mech base. So I was thinking we might see like a flak turret on the low ground. We were seeing that last patch, but it looks like the answer is just a heavy committed pressure out of Mixu. He's on 2 bases. Aureil is on 3, but with the Howl, this link node is not going to be allowed to turn into a strike node. Actually, you very rarely see this, but this sensor array doesn't give you permanent high ground vision, but you get a pretty, like with the scouts here and the sensor array, you're able to go and get pretty consistent vision on the high ground. For now, Exos are going to try to show up. They're going to try to poke down. One of the Lancers will fall. And with Sovereign's Watch that's buying just enough time, how many Argents do you need to break this down? That is a question I don't have an answer to. That is something I do not know, but certainly with the power bank here, this might be enough. Certainly to kill off the rest of the armies, so we're going to see one Repair-O-Matic get taken down. Second one, it's not even going to be allowed to repair. Not really. And now the Argents, well, they're going to kill off the rest of the units. Realistically, they've done their job. They've killed off the posts. They've killed off the Bobs. A couple of them, ideally you don't lose them, but a couple of them can go down. And that's fine. They bought the time. The pressure is not on the third base anymore, so long as the Hedgehogs don't just run right on through them, which I don't think is going to be the case. And certainly now you can add Kree on the map as well. Eventually you're going to be able to roll out. I think this is fine. I think this is bought enough time to go and get Kree on the map and start to have something that can go and properly do damage to these Hedgehogs, because heaven knows, the Hedgehogs do not really take a lot of damage from the Argents. Not really. I mean, look at that full burst, and it's just like, yep, nope. You took no damage. HYY. Not sure what you were doing there, but please don't try to hack my Twitch chat. That's good. That's a lot of hedgehogs. And we don't have rollout. It's done in like 3 seconds. And then finally there will be a solution. I don't know. Okay, so Kree being made. Power bank falls, but looks like there's no howl for the moment. But you can go reset it by popping into the sentry post. That's pretty cool. I didn't know you could do that, but you get a free howl immediately off the sentry post. And then you get another one from the scout. But now the scouts are going to go down, which means no free high ground vision anymore. Mixu probably builds more. Where's his barracks? Not building anything at the moment, but I think we are at the point where Aureil has held on. Sovereign's Watch is such a buzzkill. Yes, it is, but I don't know how you hold something like this without Sovereign's Watch. I don't know how you hold any of those sentry post rushes without a Sovereign's Watch. I think it's just a little bit too hard. So we're just gonna see a lot of kiting here. Of course, as the Exos get closer, or excuse me, not to the Exos, as the Kree get a little bit closer, they're gonna go and be able to explode a little bit. Of course, there is a med tech here. Do we have Nano Swarm? I don't know. Of course, aggressive Nano Swarm is buffed a little bit. Good bubble here, but it's just gonna lift it up. Yeah, it's just gonna get lifted up here. Purify as well, which means there's no bubble. And that Atlas will fall down. So the Atlas is dead. The Kree are able to zone out the hogs as much as possible. And this pressure from Mixu, he committed hard to it. He got himself like 4 sentry posts. He stayed on 2 bases for quite a while. Well, at this point, it's not gonna work out for him. He puts himself a little bit behind now. He is very fast with these speed boosts. He's got himself some, hog drops. Hog drops coming in. Yeah, it is Vulcan, and it'll be not Atlases for whatever reason. And I think it is because I'm a big Mech Warrior fan, and Atlases are great big stompy mechs. In my head, I think the big stompy mechs are Atlases, even though they're not. They have not been at any point in Stormgate's history, but that, I don't know why, but in my head, it is confused. So this drop in the main base is going to be very effective. The main collection array is dead. Aureil's going to lose a lot, about a third of their economy right now. And this run by doesn't really seem like it's going to get a lot done. Maybe this army attack will, though. That is a lot of Kree. You do have to run away very quickly. Yeah, this Vulcan's not getting out. Fully body blocked. And while you can dash, the dash does not let you pass through things. It gets stopped by the first unit it runs into. So that's kind of rough here. Mixu's trying to establish this 4th base. And while his drop has gotten a lot done, it's killing off a lot of prisms. It has killed off a base. I don't know that he has what it takes to kill off this tier 1 army out of Aureil. It's a 20 supply lead, which is not all that bad, all things considered. But remember, the main base has been taken out. Remember, that is a lot of supply of prisms and collection rates that are just not there. Bob's just going to get annihilated here. A gravity fluxing everything down, and Aureil, this army is just not something that Mixu can handle right now. Maybe if he got an Atlas on the field, maybe if he got more Vulcans. But as it stands, he just does not have what it takes. So this critical mass of Cabal Kree Argent is just, it's too much. I mean, it's easy to claim Imba here, and it may end up being. We're going to have to see how this meta shakes up. But also remember, Mixu committed pretty heavily to sniping the natural of Aureil, right? With the sentry posts and the early hedgehogs and the lack of a 3rd base. You can go and get your 3rd base fairly efficiently on this map. And he didn't do that. He instead, again, committed to this aggressive option. And as that happened, it meant Aureil was able to outscale, and now that's turned itself into a significant supply lead. Yes, I mean, I do like this. Oh, you know what? Okay, take a look. Multiple repairmatics on the Buzzsaw turret, getting solared as well. So it's actually putting out a lot of DPS. Unfortunately, it's just not something that Mixu can handle. He does not have enough army. I don't know if we ever got Nano Swarm. I don't know. But Mixu is dead in this game, number 1. Aureil, he's been in the kitchen. He's been cooking. He's got his army built. And it seems like Mixu, right now, the builds from last patch, not working out the way he would like. Constancy asking, can deployed hogs be hot dropped? Yes, they can. In fact, Mixu does some really cool stuff where he puts... Mixu's gonna now type out. Okay, game 1 goes the way of Aureil. Here we are, it's game 2. Unfortunately, we forgot to make it on the stormy map, but I think this is also good. We get to go and take a look at what Islet, remind ourselves what Islet Dread looks like when it's not stormy weather. Actually, it'd be really cool in the ladder map if we just had periodic storms. So, or like it would randomly chooses between stormy Islet Dread and non-stormy Islet, like not like not like increasing the ladder pool to more maps and then having 2 versions of the same map, so it'd be twice as as likely as another map to show up in the pool. But like ladder picks stormy Islet Dread, then there's a 50-50 chance it's stormy weather, 50-50 chance it's not, or just again periodic storms blowing through would be kind of cool. As it stands, we are on the standard Islet Dread. There's no rain, no lightning, no whipping trees, nothing like that. Instead, it's a nice peaceful beach town. Look at this. Look at these creeps. They're just sitting here taking a nice, they're just taking a nice nap. I mean, it's a little problematic that they're sitting here with a bunch of cleavers. I mean, that does this, I've never really looked at cleavers. I guess they do have heads. Okay, they didn't look like they had heads for a second. I'm like, oh no. Well, cleavers don't have heads. Anyway, they're taking a nice little beach nap. They are having a good time. For now, though, Mixu goes for a quick expand. In fact, quick third base. All right, okay, so this is pretty cool. So Mixu goes command post first, or maybe barracks first, gets a Lancer out, and then goes command post, third command post, after selling his barracks to get all the money back. You miss out on mining time, certainly, or on a little bit of resources on production time because you do have to build the barracks, but it's a pretty efficient way to play if you just need this one unit to go creep, and then with the rest of it, you can go and get the money back and start building stuff later. It's a pretty cool idea, and this is some of the flexibility in Vanguard macro that we occasionally see people messing around with. There we go. There's the health flower that we occasionally see people messing around with. And I would like to, I think it is, I think it's kind of this untapped, unexplored idea that probably should be messed around with a little bit more. Although Mixu trying desperately to creep, and it just, he's eating way too many of these dashes, and it's like, oh no, the scout went really low, the Lancer got really low, and not able to creep as efficiently as he would have liked. Columbe asking, did I play Hawken? I never did. It was a multiplayer game in an era where I had satellite internet and 700 milliseconds ping. So I never did. I remember a lot of MechWarrior people being pretty excited about it though. But also, Quiet Turtle saying, be interesting if the day-night cycle was quite slow and the game started at a random time of day, giving a similar effect for day-night stuff. Yeah, that'd be cool. Are those the ones, or some that Sam designed? I don't think they are, actually. Because those were much more like proto-humans with weird, like, mech arms. And these are more like, look a little bit more... I mean, they are Marauders, but they don't look, to my eye, they don't really look like the Samwise Didier designs. Yeah, and I think Hawken is dead. Yeah, it's been dead for a while. It was kind of a cool idea. I remember people were excited about it for a little bit, but it died before I was in a position where I could actually try to play it. And I really liked like kind of the really slow, strategic positioning-based mech combat that like MechWarrior 4 and MechWarrior Online provided. Less so like the frenetic FPS, really FPS style. Hawken was like an FPS game when you're in a mech. MechWarrior, MechWarrior 4, MechWarrior Online, whatever, is a tank game when you're in a mech instead of a tank. So it's a lot more about taking damage, spreading damage evenly across your armor plating, making sure that your components don't get destroyed, playing a much slower kind of positional style for the most part. You can hop in a Jenner and play a light mech and go and try to shred all the armor off the legs of enemy mechs, and that'll be fun. But it was pretty fun. I played with a Merc group for a while in MechWarrior 4, which was a lot of fun. kind of in a semi-competitive league. You know, we'd go and played a lot of Hunchback. Well, let's see how this thing's gonna go. So, a couple link nodes almost gonna be strike nodes, and well, by the time that this fight kicks off in earnest, I think they will be. Yeah, strike node's done. This scout is dead, but hey, you know, they are gonna get taken down. That is a positive trade. As seems like we do have a couple visual bugs with the new rockets on the Hedgehog. Some of them like go from way far back, full on. Oh, what is it? What's the? There's a weapon like that goes straight up and then like turns side. There's a missile that goes straight up and then turns sideways and goes kind of long range. Is it? Am I just thinking like an ICBM? Like maybe an MRBM or something? Anyway, Kree are gonna get on top of all of these Hedgehogs and all of these medtechs, and that's kind of a problem. Now they're gonna sit in the healing zone as much as possible, but Kree actually do a lot of damage. 20 or 14 damage versus these Lancers, 20 damage versus Light, but the Lancers, unfortunately, they're trapped in the exploding corner, and that's not going to be all that great. Lancer is going to be able to run out. Purify removes some of the nano swarms, which is, I don't know how much of a fan I am of the new aggressive nano swarm. It's really hard to see. But I think some nano swarms were dropped aggressively. Certainly some were dropped defensively. Mixu is able to take the trade reasonably well. He's able to trade back and forth. He's on his 3 bases. Aureil's on 3 bases. He's not like hasn't suddenly lost a bunch of economy or hasn't lost a bunch of his army and will be moved back. He's allowed to play the game that he'd like to play. ICBM's going to Space Giant. It's not an ICBM. It's well, yeah, SRMs and Mech Warrior actually is a good example where they kind of spray out then go in, or LRMs, same idea. But now that this is a scary timing because, well, Kree are going to get on top of things, debilitates go down, so it's just really hard to move. You are not fast, and this just safety, this electric fence of Kree means that it's very hard for the Exo or the Hedgehogs to go in and get anything done. Oh, that's a bit of mismicro there. Mixu, unfortunately, overclicks a little bit, doesn't stay out of range of the Kree, and these Kree are just so fast. If you can stand and deliver, they don't do a lot. It's the act of showing up, spinning out, getting that splash damage going again that is truly the problem. So Mixu finally able to take a point where he can stand and fight. And I think the answer here, and I don't know, where are our mech bays? It does feel like the answer might be Atlases. Clearly Vulcans, they just get picked up and dropped. That's not all that great. And that evac is going to get gravity flux. It does actually bait some energy off these Cabals, so maybe that's actually pretty good. I don't know. Unfortunately, these medtechs as well, the Purify just removing all the energy from them. And that feels really strong, actually. The fact that you have a top bar ability that just invalidates all of your opponent's spellcasters in this style where you really need to have some sustainability, it feels really strong. It feels really good for Aureil. So Mixu continues to kite away. Bobs are going to get pulled into this. Graven finally are probably a bit of an answer. They can go Sticky Bomb and slow things down. But the question is whether this is too much. And the Graven actually is teleported in a little bit. So it's actually going to get purified down. It doesn't really have what it needs. It's dead. And the Kree rally just continues. I mean, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is like 9. This is 9 chamber Kree. They just continue to rally over and over and over and just flooding through the map. And it just doesn't seem like there's anything that Mixu can do. We'll see if he figures something out for game 3, but for game 2, it feels like his economy is just way too hindered. There are so many Kree. Like this. This is a horror movie. This is nightmares. You're just like, more Kree rolling across, just perpetual Kree rolling in. And what are you supposed to do? I mean, I guess technically Vulcans, but clearly, as we saw, the Cabals invalidate them. I guess you can get Vulcans out now. You can get Vulcans out now, and Sticky Bombs from the Graven are pretty good. There we go. I mean, you can get to Sticky Bombs and you can get to Vulcans. Is this? Oh, that Graven allowed to stay alive. That's very nice. If you can get to Sticky Bombs and Vulcans in enough numbers, maybe that is your solution. But Mixu has a pretty powerful army at this point. Literally no Bobs. Maybe there's 1. 2 Bobs on this one. 1 Bob here. one Bob in the main base. He's got like 4 Bobs, which also means he's got 100 army supply. So that's just going to go down. So there is a world now where he marches across the map with his giga army supply, with his insane amounts of army, and just goes and ends the game. His economy is shot. Let's make no bones about it. He's got, what's that, 9? Nothing. He's got 14 workers. Yeah, he's just selling everything. He's like, oh, okay. I gotta go do some stuff. I'm gonna spend whatever rest of the money I have. I'm gonna build some more Vulcans. I'm gonna sell the rest of the units. And if I can take like one really good, maybe 2 really good fights, I don't even know. If I can take some really good fights, maybe that's gonna work out. But now the Graven has to teleport back. To blink out, sticky bombs have to go down. Offensive nanoswarms go down as well, but they can just get purified off immediately. Purify really means, and I'm starting to get more frustrated the more I watch this, it means that Celestials are the only faction that's in any game that Celestials are able to play. They are the only faction allowed to have spellcasters. Because you drop Purify, all of the Graven lose their energy, all the Medtechs lose their energy. Meanwhile, it powers it up. Mixu is gonna go down 2 games to 0. And I really think Purify should not have aggressive power. I think defensively, sure, fine. Aggressively, this feels way too strong. So here we are. It's game number 3. We were talking about Purify, how it just seems way too strong. Effectively, what it means, because the way Purify works, I didn't talk about it in the other game, but the way Purify works is that it gives energy to all friendly Celestial units under this area, right, that's sketched on the ground. It also removes all debuffs from friendly units on the ground. Simultaneously, any enemy units it's cast on lose all buffs and have energy drained from them. It's not like 100% of the energy is removed, but the energy is removed at the rate that energy is gained if you're friendly inside of it. So what that all means is that at the end of the day, it does mean that Celestials are it feels like in this matchup, Celestial are the only faction, like Celestial versus Infernal, Celestial versus Vanguard, are the only, the Celestials are the only one that are allowed to actually use spellcasters, because spellcasting effects just get purged away. So like, say, offensive nanoswarm, sticky bomb, infest, other things just gets purged away. And you can just drop an offensive Purify. You get 3 charges of it. You drop an offensive Purify and remove a lot of the energy from your opponent's spellcasters. So they get maybe like 1 spell off. That it does. It's one of these things where I don't know that it might have been broken all this time. It might have been very strong all this time. But there were just other issues that we were paying attention to. But I'm looking at it in these couple games. It just feels way too good. ConCC saying it's effectively top bar abilities are effectively structure abilities. Yes, except the nice thing about that is that you don't have to worry. You can make the abilities a little stronger and then not worry about, say, someone spamming like 20 command centers and having infinity mules or something. You can kind of balance it by, regardless of whatever your opponent makes, they're going to be able to go, and they only have so many of these top bar abilities, which is kind of cool. Now, I do like this. I think this is very important to do against a Celestial player. Aureil, the power banks, which are probably more important to harass than even really any of the, even say the prisms or something. The power banks were made not as tanky. They lost some HP, and each of them is a little bit more power. So if you keep them alive, they're great, and that's awesome. But if you don't keep it alive, if you lose it, you lose a lot more power. So it's a little easier to put Celestials into yellow and red power, which then slows the production down, and it slows, I want to say it slows their economy down too. It really does put a damper in their early game. So even though power banks are made cheaper, that is something that is harassable, and I do like Mixu getting a little aggressive on the map and taking down at least 1 power bank and putting pressure down on this collection array. But of course, Sovereign's Watch shuts that down, and you know, I've seen people talk about how Sovereign's Watch shouldn't exist, about how Sovereign's Watch is just puts too much of a damper on the early game. I don't know that I'm that far, because I think there are things that, like, just because of how things scale, if you didn't have Sovereign's Watch, that build that Mixu did in game 1 is probably unholdable. SCX saying Faction 2.0 means that it's not that we're reworking everything. It just means that there are only 2 factions, no more Celestials. Because we're talking about, oh, you know, not a big fan of a Celestial design right now. They are working on big faction redesigns for all 3 factions, starting with Infernals, then Vanguard. Celestials are going to be kind of the last one to that. We'll see that. Classic is saying you can always walk out or disengage and Purify. Yes, but the initial impact is really the important thing, because you remove all like basic Purify, especially against Vanguard. Say a miasma is continuously being applied. Purifying off Infest is not like that big of a deal, but Vanguard spending all their energy on, say, nano swarms offensively or defensively, sticky bombs, things like that, things that have significant cooldowns that take a while to get up. Those are very punished by Purify, and that's not something you can walk out of. That's just something that it happens, right? Purify is a unfortunate Hornet death. Purify goes down, you lose the buffs, you lose the debuffs. Like there's no counterplay there. The Purify is technically the counterplay, and even then, removing, I don't know how much it does per tick, how much energy it removes per tick, but even then, removing how much that does. A lot of casters have like 2 spells at max energy. So even removing like 10 energy means that you can only do like 1 spell and then you gotta wait a little bit. Which, these are things that matter significantly in how a fight's gonna go. Guillotine saying red power should be no top bar and production stops until you build more power. I don't say production stops. It's already nerfed by like 50%. It slows down significantly, but I had thought, and I think at one point this was true, where top bar was locked out if you were in red power. You could not cast any more top bar spells if you were in red power. That's what I was gonna say. Did this change? But yes, Consti, yeah, okay, good. I'm not crazy. I'm like, I think that's how that works. But also that is the buff of power banks, where power banks are cheaper and they give you 5 more power each time. So yes, they are more harassable, but if you get them up, it's a lot easier to stay out of red power. Look at that little, okay, so there's the new offensive nano swarm. You see it right there. Kind of hard to see, but it does something. Remember, it does 15 damage per second. These Hornets, they're looking for a little bit more damage. Now they're just gonna get taken down by the Cabals. They're slow. Well, actually, mass promote or promote keeps it alive a little bit longer. And random sky mine. Not sure what's up with that one. It does look really cool though. I really like the particle effects on that. As the attacks goes into the 3rd base as well. So Mixu was just like, you know what? I'm not gonna play mid-late game. I'm not gonna play mid-game here. I'm just gonna go, and I am going to get as aggressive as I can. I'm gonna lean into you with just some massive hedgehogs, a couple med techs just to just add a little bit more, and I'm gonna try to do as much economic damage as I humanly can. And also, with these sky mines are kind of cool because A, their vision. I don't know where the Hornet went. I didn't see, but A, their vision. B, prisms can't really run into them. They will take damage. So now more attacks go in. We're on green energy. That's gonna go down to yellow. More of this production is gonna get taken down. And I think this is how you want to be playing as Mixu right now. The supply is still in the favor of the Celestial. But Mixu, behind this aggression, he's got his 4th base done. He is developing himself. He's still only on Central Command, not going much higher than there, but he's building more Lancers. He's building more stuff. He's starting to develop his economy more. And that does mean that, theoretically, if there ever was a game where he was going to have a chance to build an army that actually fights this nonsense, maybe it exists. So there we go. Purify number 1 is going to get spent. We can see the offensive nano swarm is going to get taken down. But now we have the next level of things. Unseen Veil. Not sure what these... What are these? Can you nano swarm prisms? Anyways, create Unseen Veil. You gotta run away from this. There are no scouts in this army, no sentinels in this army. It's gonna be a full-on surround. This feels like a disaster for Mixu. Despite all the damage he's getting done, this surround feels impossible to avoid, realistically. No sentinels, no scouts, and, you know, even if it was, it's so fast. Even if you see it coming, even if you can do damage, it is... The speed buff from everything means the Krees get a guaranteed surround. So, a couple more Vulcans have been added into the fray. These only 2 Cabals, not enough power to really cast anything. As we seem to be hitting a bit of lag over to Frankfurt, but nothing really to deal with this. And run from it, fear it. Everything happens just the same. The 9 or 12 or 15, however many it is, all of the Kree running into every base. The timing arrives regardless of what happens, regardless of how much damage you get done. And Aureil is primed to 3-0 this. Mixu, we are 24 hours into this patch. Maybe there's a solution that's going to get found before Saturday. But as it stands, Mixu does not have a solution to this. Neither did Nina. The Kree spam, it's a strong one. And it is... Well, it's all going to get taken down. Mixu is dead in this game. No counterattacks. Bob's on the right side, but yeah, it's not going to matter. Kree in every base. Night of the Living Kree. This is horrifying. This is every Vanguard player's worst nightmare. I am very spooked. And yeah, Theory, it's a pretty cool use of the Veil. This is how Aureil was playing last patch as well. So now there's a sensor drone. There's some detection. But unfortunately, I guess Mixu didn't have enough energy for that when he saw the unseen, because you can see. You can see where everything is. Like, you can see the ghosts. You just can't interact with them. And unfortunately, he was... I guess he didn't have enough energy for a sensor drone. He was too much on bubbles and promote. But as it stands, Mixu is very much dead. Why not, give it a little bit of warning. Or some, like, yeah, give it a Nightfall. Give it the Nightfall treatment. I'd be fine with that. Maybe reduce it down to 2 charges, increase the cooldown length, and give it the Nightfall treatment. Maybe Purify could be okay then. Mixu has tapped out of this game, though. This is a 3-0 for Aureil, winning Stormgate Sunday's patch day on Wednesday. He's going to be in the lab. He's going to see what we can figure out. But for now, that's going to be the end of this series. Of course, if you like this, you want more Stormgate stuff, you want to stay up to date with everything, where all the development is going, make sure to go sub to the YouTube channel, follow me on Twitch, and I'll catch you next time.